and the night before something kind of landed with me. I'd had this dream about being heavily pregnant.
Okay.
And went to this business breakfast, weirdly, so not in an arts environment at all. And obviously I've been listening to people, speaking with people, meeting lots of people, and fell in love with Lutonians quite quickly.
So, welcome to another episode of In Conversation With. We now have the amazing Revoluton with us, which I'm actually excited about because we started working with you guys quite recently. And I'm really excited about where we can take this. I'm going to let you talk about it. I was about to ramble on about the bits and pieces we're working with, but I want to hear it from you. Because I know there's a real vision with the organisation. So I really want to delve into that and kind of like the thinking behind it, the direction you're going in. What is that for Revoluton?
Okay, so first of all, it's great to be here. Thank you so much, Ben. It's great to be working in partnership. So I've been in post at Revoluton now for about 2.5 years, and I've always said, you know, my career has always been about people and partnerships, and that's what's been consistently really important to me. You know, the vision has taken a while, and interestingly, there was a kind of 9-month period, and the night before something kind of landed with me. I'd had this dream about being heavily pregnant.
Okay.
And went to this business breakfast, weirdly, so not in an arts environment at all. And obviously I've been listening to people, speaking with people, meeting lots of people, and fell in love with Lutonians quite quickly. You know, I knew Luton. I've got a very good friend who lives in Luton, who's an artist. I'd performed in Luton myself, but you know, it still felt kind of new to me. What landed with me was the warmth and generosity of Lutonians. Yeah. And you know, I kept hearing about the super diversity of the town and really kind of, you know, absorbing that super diversity. But went to this business breakfast and was hearing, you know, that the local authority ambition with the inward investment, like absolutely get that. You know, but for me, it was like, well, what's the kind of flip side? How do we project out, you know, the richness of the super diversity, such a globally representative place, so many brilliant people here. And, you know, as Sonia set out to do in her Made in Luton film to dispel those myths, it gets a really bad rep, Luton.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a brilliant place, you know, with beautiful people, and more people need to know about that. So the vision is very much, you know, as a globally representative place, connecting creatives and communities locally and globally, reaching out, uniting to define positive futures. So we're all about positive change. You know, we work in a wealth of different ways, very hyper-local, deep within communities in places like Bury Park. We work across the town as well, but we're starting to reach out of Luton, but with people and places like Luton. Yeah. So, you know, really interesting places, kind of bottom-up activist mentality. And we've just, you know, with our first kind of flag in the ground moment, we've just completed the research phase of our River Lee project, which will connect with communities and creatives along the stretch of the River Lee all the way to East London. But yeah, as I say, you know, the ambition is to connect out with communities who are relevant to the people that live here in Luton. So, you know, the globe's the limit, Ben.
Yeah. No, seriously, like, and I love what you just said about it being bottom up, because a lot of the times we have organisations come in and they like, have this idea and they're like, let's impose it. Not really engaging with the communities properly who they're claiming to serve. Because one thing I notice is that with a lot of the work that I've seen that you guys do, you kind of empower people to actually do the work, which I think is so important. Because a lot of the times people feel sort of defranchised about the whole process, and they feel like actually they're not being listened to properly. Whereas you guys with the commissions and other elements, that you seem to really integrate people within that whole process from the start, which I think is such an amazing thing. What kind of like inspired that? Because it's quite a brave thing to do, because okay, we say opportunities, but then it's like, who's going to engage with it? And obviously, are the trust of it actually in, you know, delivering this thing? It's quite a big thing for an organization to do, especially when you're getting funding for these certain things. What made you make that decision to be like, we're going to put people first with our programming?
in a way, it is led by funding, but the way in which we do it is not unique to our primary funder, Arts Council England. So we're one of 38 organisations or projects funded to work in a way that is bottom-up, but all of those 38 projects do it in a very different way. And Revoluton works in a way that is about co-producing, working hand in hand with local creatives and communities to, make something in a very collaborative way. There's still more we want to do. We want the voice of local people to absolutely drive everything that we do, because if we're gonna, I'm very aware I'm a white woman talking about being globally representative, so there's no good in me making those decisions about what we do. And if we're about Luton, our work is rooted in Luton. I love Luton. I've become this kind of term I keep hearing bandied around. I'm adopted Lutonian. Fantastic. I love that. If they'll have me, I think they will. But I can't be that voice alone, and Luton is a super diverse town, so we've got to connect with people to decide on what happens here, whether that's local people who aren't connected with arts and culture, sitting in a room with us and the producing team and artists deciding what gets produced here, or whether it's, creatives like Sonia Chowdhury who come to us with a brilliant idea, and, we can then connect her with brilliant people who are already working in the industry like Michael, who I'm sure we'll move on to at some point soon, to work in that kind of co-produced way so that there's a really beautiful output, because Lutonians deserve that.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, Michael, how did you, talking about Made in Luton, which was an amazing film and an amazing story about a certain community within Luton, it's mad how diverse Berry Park is and how many stories are within that. How did you get involved in that project?
Oh, so the thing is, I got an email from Maria, who I knew way back when in London when she worked for the Kiln, and then she'd come over to Revoluton. And then it was just hey, do you want to support a young filmmaker on a journey? It's like, what's that documentary? And for me, I've always wanted to tackle a doc, and it's it's quite a scary, daunting task, documentaries, especially from a narrative point of view. Oh my gosh, as soon as I met Sonia and Ahad, and then she's gonna kill me for this, but I don't know where we met, because it was what's the food place we went to? Chaiwala. No, I haven't since. But it was like a christening of welcome, right? We're in, and we sat around the table, and and especially in the documentary, from that moment of meeting both those, it was just felt very much about family. And so though it was me knowing Maria beforehand, getting involved in that way, as soon as I was in, stepping my foot in Luton, discovering this through Sonia, which was beautiful, and all the people on the in the streets and the shops, everyone wanted to give themselves on camera. Sonia was amazing at that, but I just feel like that was Luton in general. So I had a very, very easy, calm and welcoming way in, just from a simple hi, and that's how I got involved, and it's kind of been an amazing journey.
So what do you do? What's your background normally? Before Maria was let me call this guy up and throw him in the deep end, what were you doing with your time?
It's so hard to say what I do. It's anything that gets me paid. No, that's the other thing. It's because I'm an artist. It's an easier way to sum it up. I'm an actor primarily is when I started. Then I got into physical theatre and movement, and then directing theatre. And then I was in drama school. I had my camera, and I used my camera just to try and make me and my mates look cool. That was the main thing. Yeah. Someone says, hey, you want to make a trailer for my show? And I'm like, yeah, I can do that. Stressed for a whole week, and then got really into the technology of it. Yeah. But knowing all these worlds helped me survive as an artist now. And it's as a filmmaker, as a storyteller. And I'm still learning that. Films contextualize a lot of things for me. So that was my background into it, and I feel like Made in Luton kind of solidified my ability in terms of, because you learn the most when you teach.
That's true.
And oh my gosh, I was Sonia's I want to do this, I want to do that, and I'm like, yeah. What we need to do is we need to find what's the story, what's the narrative. We need to bring it down, and kept provoking those questions. But through Sonia and her beautiful ability to guide that story taught me so much as a filmmaker and as an artist. So that's how I began, and that's how I'm grown, and I think Made in Luton is a huge stamp in that journey.
It is a beautiful film, and so like I said to the guys that I commended them on the work they'd done, and I have to say it to you as well, because obviously you was part of that process. Like, well done. Like, it was stunningly put together. The story was woven together so lovely. It felt good. It was like a feel-good documentary. Like, it's very weird really to sort of encapsulate the feeling behind it. It was just such a lovely watch. And it just really introduced you to all these different characters, which documentaries do, but it was just done in such a nice way. And I think if I was a person looking in, I'd think Berry Park was way bigger, because of how many like different bits of people and communities that you managed to capture within that short documentary. It was amazing. And that's why I think, and one thing we've always said is, like, even though I've always said quite a few times that I want 50% of what we show at the festival to be local. When I say local, I mean like Bedfordshire, and the rest can be from the rest of the country, around the world, because I really want to platform that local voice, because I think it's super important. But I've always said it's super important to bring people from outside of Luton in to complement that. And I think this is a perfect example of how that can work and really enhance the work that we're doing. Is that something that was part of like Revoluton's strategy, or was this sort of a happy coincidence?
I think just coming back to my point earlier about partnerships and collaboration, and building networks as a creative. If you just keep it within your immediate vicinity, like I suppose there are other work opportunities out there, and we're all for people staying in Luton and being supported as a creative in Luton, but to have a network on a national and international level as well, so important. So what's I suppose a pleasure of working within an organisation like Revoluton is to bring our networks to Luton and to see what beautiful collaborations can come out. But coming back as well to our partnership with Bute Street and your commitment to working in a cross arts way is fantastic. So yes, bringing others, non-Lutonians in as creatives or as audience. But I think what's been great for the festival and us working with Bute Street this year, and a good number of artists, creatives local that we've been working with, all given this platform, this showcase opportunity within Bute Street Festival to show, textiles, crafts, sculpture, music, fantastic. Yeah. So, it's, an absolute pleasure to be here, and fantastic to be networking on a much wider scale.
I love that, because I think that's the whole purpose of it. Like, for us, we want to be that kind of spider's body with all these networks coming off. And so some may say, like, in terms of like when you're signposting people know where to go, right? So it makes it so much less daunting an experience of figuring out where it can go. And that's why we wanted to work with you guys for such a long time, because there's so much synergy in what we do. And it's like, if we can't help someone, we know you can, because we cover such a big section of the community in terms of the programs and events that we put on. How important is that for you in terms of working in different locations or different groups as a creative? Is that something that you kind of I know it's like freelancing, you have to get paid. Listen, there's absolutely no shame there whatsoever. It's very smart because you need to eat. But is there a purposefulness in sometimes of the stuff that you get offered and be like, actually, I really want to do that because of it's different. It's a different community. I feel there's a way I can develop my practice of working in these different areas.
My gosh, yes, absolutely. Like, it's been such a privilege to have been invited to Luton to do this thing, because I've always wanted to do a documentary, something a bit more substantial. You can get lost in your own pocket world sometimes in the things that you do. So I'm doing a lot of trailers for things or story, and there's things that you also want to follow your own passion projects, but also you want to do things that terrify you. And when this email came through, I was terrified, which means that I was excited, which means that I should do it. And because it's like putting you talk the talk, can you walk the walk? Because I think sometimes as an artist, you envision, and we all have those dreams in our head where we're like, I would love to do that. Yeah, I could do that. And the things that we procrastinate from or avoid is because we avoid failure. We don't really want to put our foot in it too much. This was the perfect opportunity to put my foot right in it. Because I remember, I think it was, I don't know if I asked Maria or Sonia probably multiple times, how long does the documentary need to be? Is that a feature length? Is that a, you know, when you're used to doing 5-minute short pieces and panicking how that looks. So it's so rewarding to go through that process, to be supported in that process, and to make something that you're all really proud of, and it teaches you so much. I know from the film watching, and people are like, oh my gosh, what about this? What about that? And I'm sure it's got everyone's heads are running with, where do we go next? What do you know? Because once you see something achieved, and for me as an artist, once I see, it's possible, you're capable, and see where do you want to go next? Because now what's the next thing? And having opportunities like this, like it's an absolute yes from me. If whatever comes through my way, I'm just really lucky that it's one of those things that is just come to me from seemingly out of nowhere. Like, who else is able to offer that? And it's really hard as an artist to find and to try and chase those things or to make those things, because a lot of it's on your own back, in your own time, amongst friends, which I'm sure Hidden Tiger, that's how they started and that's how they're doing what they're doing. And then you've got amazing organisations like this that, you know, help and say, here you go, and offer an open hand to say, make something, go for it. It's been an absolute privilege,
And it's super powerful, isn't it? Because I think that first opportunity not only gives creatives like yourself, outside of Luton, but creatives locally, there's a chance to collaborate and to kind of workshop stuff and give you the opportunity to fail, which I think is always kind of missed off the conversation. It's like, we need to be able to fail, because to fail is learning, right? And giving you the space to do that and develop your skill set is such a powerful thing, and it lights that fire and that kind of desire for your craft to develop it out. So I think the work that you do as Revoluton to those commissions, and not only just here's the money, that's it, but you're actually taking them through this pathway, I think is really powerful. And I think that's what made me excited to when I started speaking to Maria about possible collaborations, was that, and that commitment to that, and that fearlessness in a sense to be like, you know what, I want to create this space for people to fail in the most positive way ever, if that makes sense. I know it's a weird way to phrase it, but I think it's so important, because then it's like, when it comes with Sonia and the team we made in Luton, their next film's going to be even more phenomenal, because I can imagine, like you said, there's so much stuff you learned from actually putting this together. So that experience of actually doing and being in that space to do is a beautiful thing. I just went on a monologue to tell you how amazing you are, by the way.
Team effort and massive shout out. What's fantastic is we've actually got Sonia in the team now, which is brilliant. Working with us on our, community engagement. But, massive shout out to Maria Shuri-Smith, who is our senior producer, who without, this partnership wouldn't have been possible. So, it is a real team effort, and I think, coming back to what I was saying earlier, like Luton and Lutonians deserve the best. So we want to be working in that co-producing way to make sure that, really great stuff does happen. But, it's those local creatives, artists who are, leading the vision. We're just there giving them the kind of scaffold and the networks to make sure that it lands well. And, providing some space to fail and learn, which, really important.
Is there anything that you want people to know about Revoluton? Whether it's about your ethos, what you have to offer, is there anything coming up that you want to let people know?
I mean, there's so much. It's like, where do we start? I mean, there's always something coming up in terms of programme, obvs. So the first weekend of September, the 7th and 8th of September, we've got a brilliant piece called Public Trust by artist Paul Ramirez-Jonas. And it is a kind of different piece for us. Normally recent years we've had big kind of processional outdoor arts, massive puppets, that sort of thing, moving through the town at night time, all lit up. This time we're going daytime, 12 till 5. on the Saturday and Sunday, 7th and 8th of September. And this is going to be, it's a massive display board, marquee board, where people can make, anonymously, can make public pledges. So again, you know, this is kind of like shaping positive futures, whether that's something special for yourself or whether that's, you know, a kind of grander commitment somebody wants to make. So that's coming up. And I think, you know, just always get in touch. If you're kind of thinking like, oh, I'd like to know a bit more, get in touch. We've got a brilliant team. We love meeting people. You know, we work with artists and creatives and communities in a range of ways. Small commissions, you know, textile pieces for workshop activity, through to, as I say, big outdoor arts events working with international artists. And, you know, we work with young people and emerging artists. There's a year-round programme for people to come, engage, meet people, feel supported, potentially access, you know, a bit of investment to make the idea a reality. So, you know, the programme is, you know, broad. We're ambitious in our approach. We're a small team, but we punch above our weight.
I like to hear that. Like, I think it's amazing. So I think we said it before the interview started. Basically, you need to put yourself out there. So basically, just get in touch, reach out, see what opportunities are out there. So if there's something that you have a passion with, reach out. And even if you guys don't have a program on at that stage, you will be able to signpost people. This has been amazing. We could talk until the cows come home. But unfortunately, we don't have that time. But it's been amazing talking to you guys and really finding out more about, obviously, Revoluton and your contributions to the film. I was unaware, so it was actually really cool to meet you. And I love, this is one of those sort of moments where, this crystallization moment where we want Luton to be bigger than just its eternal self. So for you, as a creative, even though you're one person and being aware of this ecosystem within Luton and actually loving that experience, I'm assuming and I hope you'll come back.
Come on, yes, Luton. Yeah, I'm coming back. Good. Coming back, at least for Chaiwana. There's more places than that. There's
quite a few different places.
Yeah, that feels like home here. Like it's not been, obviously, just coming down from the trains gives a warm feeling now, like, and this has all been beautiful. So thank you so much as well. Yeah.
No, it's been a pleasure, and I feel like this has been like a super kind of positive feeling, quite cathartic for myself, because it's like all my, like, you was dreaming about being pregnant, I was just dreaming about this moment. So about this kind of natural kind of creative ecosystem coming together quite organically, and I feel you guys have been a huge part of that, and I hope we continue to work together to make that even bigger and more of a reality. So thank you so much.